Whew. I'm getting too old to be using a duck under. That's why I've been building a lift up here on my N-scale layout so that I won't have to duck under. I'm going to show it to you right now. Hi, I'm Roy Smith. If you've been watching my series about big track plan changes, then you know that I've been building a lift-up bridge right here. But I haven't been making as much progress as I would like. Real life keeps getting in the way of my model railroading. Besides, building this bridge is turning out to be a bit more challenging than I thought it would be. In any case, let me show you what I've done so far. It's not easy to build a lift up here in the corner of the train room, but it's here because that's where the room door is. And just to make it more challenging, the bench work here at White Mountain is 56 inches above floor level, while over here at Pocatello it measures 57 inches above floor level. That means I have to build the entire lift-out bridge on an incline. It would have been simpler just to build a lift-out bridge, such as I did over here in front of the closet door. But I opted instead for a lift-up bridge. A swing bridge might have been the best choice, but it's just about impossible to build a swing bridge here in this corner. So I'm working on the supporting bench work for the lift-up bridge. Now it's far enough along that I can show you how it functions. First, let me remove the pink foam because the foam is not yet permanently attached to the bench work. The pink foam is much lighter than 1/2 inch plywood, yet it's really strong. The bottom of the foam is laminated with a 1/4 inch thick sheet of plywood to protect the foam and give it additional strength. Now I can lift up the supporting bench work like this toward the diesel storage shelf. My goal is to keep it as lightweight and as easy to lift up as possible. It lifts up out of the way so that I can easily come in and go out of the room. But look at this pink foam. It stretches as far as the eye can see. Did you know that pink foam is radioactive? No? Well, look at what it's done to this white shirt I'm wearing. It's even turning me pink. But that's okay because pink foam works great as sub-road bed for lift-up bridges. Did you know that Steve Brown over at It's My Railroad is using pink foam to build scenery on his layout even as we speak?
So we're going to get started on that by tracing out the mountain, but just before we do, I'd like to introduce you to two characters in today's drama. One is the styrofoam you're used to seeing me use. This is white. I don't even know what you call it. I call it white styrofoam. It's beaded, and it's a lot of fun. It's what I've used everywhere on the layout. I'm also introducing this. This is what we call the pink stuff, the pink extruded foam board. I got a whole bunch of this stuff that I bought just to work with it, to try to be cool like everybody else. And we're going to talk more about that a little bit later, but I think for this scene, I've got a 4x4 sheet sitting over here. I think we're gonna cut that sucker up and start stuffing it in back there. See if we can't make some kind of a mountainous thing and put our little white styrofoam on hold for right now.
I mentioned that because the only reason I have this pink foam for my layout is because Steve sent it to me back in October. You can't buy this stuff anywhere in Panama, but I've heard that real men don't use pink foam. Well, if it's good enough for Steve, it's good enough for me. You could even say I'm tickled pink by it. Of course, the phrase tickled pink means I'm glowing with pleasure. But that glow might also come from the radiation that pink foam gives off. Ah. By the way, did you know that Lionel made a pink locomotive when I was a kid back in the 1950s? Yep, I know, it's crazy, but it's true. Lionel wanted to appeal to little girls, but nobody bought it. Even little girls didn't want it. Imagine that. Obviously, I removed the track to work on the lift-up bridge, but this is what it looked like a few days ago when it still had track on it. A lot of you asked me about that 15-degree crossing and what it's doing there. I explained it in Tuesday night's episode of Dispatch, but in case you missed that episode of Dispatch, let me mention it again. The 15-degree crossing is there for 3 reasons. First, to take the tracks on the lift-up section to the correct tracks at Pocatello. Second, to avoid using a series of space-consuming turnouts. And third, to avoid problems with reverse polarity in the tracks. Here's my track plan. The area within the blue box is where the lift-up bridge is located. And here you see where the crossing is located. Tracks 1 and 2 are for continuous running on the upper level of the layout. They allow me to run 2 trains simultaneously on the upper level without the trains having to descend the helices. For this continuous running to work, the tracks from White Mountain must connect with the appropriate tracks at Pocatello. And track 3 is for taking westbound trains from Pocatello down to staging representing Portland. The crossing makes it possible for all of this to happen. But there is an alternative, and that alternative is a double crossover here at Pocatello, or perhaps 2 sets of single crossovers here. Using turnouts instead of the 15-degree crossing is more prototypical, but it would also require the use of 2 Digitrax AR1 automatic reversers, and this is because of differences in track polarity. The polarity of tracks 1 and 2 at Pocatello is the opposite of tracks 3 and 4. And that difference is caused by the configuration of track coming from Evanston. Look here at the plan. At Evanston, the white rail is on the front of the track closest to the aisle. But by the time the track arrives at Pocatello, the blue rail is on the front. I use the terms white and blue because that's the color of the wires for cathode drop feeders. To use turnouts, I would have to isolate segments of track at Pocatello and use AR1s on tracks 1 and 2. If I didn't do that, I would have a big short that would shut down the layout. So the 15-degree crossing was, and perhaps still is, a simple solution to a complex problem. But it's important to always remember, a track plan is just a guide and it can be changed as we go. In any case, the next time you see this lift-up bridge, the pink foam will be permanently attached to the benchwork. And the track I ordered will arrive any day now. So I should be able to show you trains running across the lift-up in next Saturday's episode. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode about building a lift-up bridge. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell icon so that you don't miss any upcoming episodes. I upload Dispatch on Tuesday nights. This is a weekly show in which I interact with you. And on Saturday mornings, I upload a layout update. So, as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, happy railroading. I'm Roy Smith, and I will see you again very soon.